Now what has this done? Well, let's review real quick. We have an integer named x that equals 10. We have an integer named Bob that equals 2. And we have an integer named p that equals x times Bob. So what happens if we print out p? Now, what should happen is it should say hello world space plus, well, not plus, but space 20. Again, you may be wondering, really, come on dude, what significance does this have? You can make, alright? I'll show you something real quick. Two times 10. You can make your own calculator. That's the significance of this. It may not seem like much at the start because we're just doing basic stuff, but we can make our own calculator by just having set things. Now it's not quite like this, but it's similar to this. So we've done some really basic coding. I hope you guys are kind of grasping the idea here. So it really requires a thought process. You have to think, and you have to think sort of outside the box. So some people can do this, some people can't. That's perfectly normal, and it probably can be achieved through practice. So just think, you know, what if I made an integer 100? You know, what if I do this or that? So just kind of practice out with some system.out.println. Practice this especially. I want you to memorize this down to the core. Just absolutely memorize this line here. You're more than welcome to copy and paste it, but memorizing it too will be extremely helpful. Here we have integers. Memorize integers just a little bit because they will become useful, but we don't use them a huge amount. At any rate, hope you guys have grasped from this, and that you've actually figured some things out. Even if you're still kind of lost, that's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Just think about it, right? Anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I hope you found it slightly useful. And the next video is going to be advanced. It's going to have quite a bit more in it. So practice this basic stuff before we get into the advanced stuff. Or slightly. When I say advanced, I mean really basic advanced. But practice this stuff if you don't get it. Otherwise, continue on to the next video, and I'll see you soon. Alright, hello YouTube, and welcome back. This is Guardian from Capital Gear Gaming, doing lesson 3 on Java coding. Here I'm going to be showing you guys slightly more advanced stuff, and this is really where we get into the idea of calculators. So we're actually going to take our integers here and delete them. The reason why we're deleting them is because we're kind of cheating in a sense. We can't pull out every single possibility. We can't go like 1 plus 1 equals 2, 1 plus 2 equals 3, 1 plus, and keep on going forever. Because not only will that take forever, because there's an infinite number of numbers, but it'll just be really hard. So instead, there needs to be an easier way to do it. I'm going to show you an easier way to do it. Now go up here. I'm serious, go up here. And what we're going to do is make our first import. Now what an import is, if you watched my first episode, I talked about objects. Objects are pre-made code. That's all you need to know. Alright? So what we're actually going to do is we're going to import java.util.scanner. So what does this all mean? We're importing something. What this something is part of Java. So it's sort of like a folder called Java .util. So that'd be like the next folder, and then the actual file is scanner. This is scanner with a capital S. So if this is an error, that's because it's a lowercase. I have a tendency to automatically know what to do, so if I sometimes skip things, make sure to watch out. Some things are really dependent on whether it's being lowercase or uppercase, so be careful about that. Any rate, so what is a scanner? Well, okay, a scanner could do multiple, and I mean multiple things. It can do lots of stuff. But in this case, we're going to do a very basic thing. We are going to scan input from the keyboard. Now what that means is when somebody presses a number like 5, we're going to scan that, and we're going to set a integer, say x or Bob, to equal 5. And that way we solve our problem with the calculator, which means somebody could put in a number like 10 whatever. Our scanner will pick that number up, put it inside the variable, and then we can solve it. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Now, first things first, we can't just use the scanner. What we have to do is actually create the scanner. This not only puts the scanner inside of our code, but this will actually set it to detect a certain thing, and you'll see what I mean. So we'll type in scanner with a capital S again, and then we need a variable name. Once again, this could be X, this could be Y, it could be gibberish, it could be anything you want. In this case, I'm going to go with I. Actually, no, it's not. Let's go with number. Sure, why not? And then we're going to set it to equal new scanner. Once again, it's capital, brackets, and then what we're going to do is type in system with a capital S dot in. Now what does the in stand for? The in stands for input. Right here, you can read it right here. Standard input. Don't read the rest because it's kind of confusing stuff. But it stands for input. That's going to tell us that this scanner is going to be used to scan input from the keyboard specifically. So we've created a scanner. Right now it's not being used. It's not doing anything, but we're going to use it later on. Okay, so what do we do next? Well, we need an integer. We need two integers to be exact. Alright, so let's create two integers. And let's call one, once again, it's a name. You could call it anything you want. People have tendency to have troubles with variables. I don't know if it's the word variable that's confusing or whatever, but it's anything. It's literally anything in the world. But in this case, I am going to use X and Y. They're just single letters, they're used commonly, and they're easy to use. So I'm just going to use those real quick. Now you may be wondering, okay, well, what now? Right. Well, we're going to set it to equal whatever the scanner picks up. See, this is the name of our scanner. So whatever the scanner picks up within the next integer. Right here. And then we do the same here. Oh, sorry. Dot next integer. End it with a semicolon. Right. So now we have a resource leak. Don't worry about that. Really don't worry about that at all. Because that's not going to affect anything. If our code was a massive code, it would then might affect something. So that's where bugs come into play, and there's ways we can fix that. Anyways, so what this is going to do is this is going to scan. So essentially we've created a scanner called number, and then we've set x to equal whatever this scanner called number scans within the next integer. But what does this really do? This actually allows the person to type in a number. If they type in a letter, it's going to give us an error. So I'm going to show you guys real quick how to do the rest of this. So integer, and we could call this f for final number, whatever, equals x times y. And then here we're just going to replace that with f. So we just print out that. Let's space this out just to make it easier to read. Right. So now we have this. So what is this going to do? Well, let's find out. Let's run it. So we have a blank page. That's fine. That's what we want. So I know that I have the ability to put in one number. So let's put in one number here. And it could be any number. It could be 555. It could be 5. It could be whatever. So let's go with 5. So I put in that one number. Now what I can do is put in a second number. Now when I put in the second number, it is then going to times these two second numbers and then print out the answer, which is f. Ta-da! So now, so what this does is we've essentially done multiplication of a calculator, pretty much. There's some teeny things, you know, like integers, being that they're not decimals is not a good thing, because what if we're timesing two decimal numbers? It's a bit broken, because if we were to go A, we get an error. But that's okay. It's a great start, especially if you're just starting to learn how to program. This is a pretty good start. Now, like kind of under this, what we could do is kind of make it a little more user friendly. So we could be like system.out.println, and this is what I meant by contacting the the user, essentially. Put this in between the points. So if you're confused on how this works, I'm sorry that I'm actually explaining this later on, which is confusing, but everything starts here and then works its way down. So it works its way all the way down. So whatever you have happen here will happen before this happens, essentially. So let's put that there and put that there. So here we're going to actually type, please put in first number. I'm just going to quickly copy and paste that over, like so. Now you want that space so that if the player, I keep on saying player, for God's sake. I'm a fucking idiot. If the user clicks like right beside this semicolon, I believe it'll force them to type it there. I think it's tidiness. Any rate, so let's see what this does. We will run it. Please put in first number. All right. Thank you for telling me. 789 times 365. There's your answer. So as you can see, by using the scanner with system.out and some basic integers, we are capable of really interacting with the person and actually being able to help them solve what would normally be quite difficult numbers. For some of you, maybe not difficult numbers, but I'm pretty sure I didn't know what that equaled. I did not know that was 28,000. Holy shit, that's actually a lot larger than I thought it was. Well, it is times. That's 2 million. I'm not even gonna try. I give up. Anyways, so that's and in here we could even add some stuff. We could be like the, you know, we could be like, I don't know if this is correct spelling or not. I guess so. The answer is, I suck at spelling, by the way. Now here's where the space becomes useful. If we don't have that space there, it'll put the answer like literally right there. Like right there.